really thank you. Appreciate for ATF to have me here and give me this opportunity to introduce Indonesian animation and as well as our company MNC Group. So today I'm gonna talk about like animation in Indonesia. Let me pull up my. So some of you may question to me like, who are you, right? So you probably, most people don't know about me, so I decided to introduce myself first. So I studied animation back in 1992 as a in-between animator, as a kind of, what should I say, typical in-between animator in Korea. At the time, we have a lot of OEM works from United States, from Canada, from Japan, all over the world. So it's kind of like, at the time, Korea is an animation factory, and then I was in the field right after I graduated high school. And then I was, typically doing like key animation, animation director, layout, and some stuff like that. And then back in 1999, I had a great chance to work on Wonderful Days, which is a Korean feature animation. Now, I worked for this film for 4 years as a main step for storyboarding, design, key animation, and supervising for some layout too. And then after this project, I moved in Japan, and then I had also a great chance to work for Seung as a assistant director, as a trainee director, working for Macro Zero together for 5 OVA animation show. And then finally, I got to direct for TV series for Aquarium in Japan. And then after that, I had a chance to move to United States in 2006 by supervising whole production for Avatar: The Last Airbender. And then I was gonna go for more action show, but at the time, like a mortgage crisis happened, and then all action show got canceled. So I had a chance to work for a little bit of comedy show like American Dad at the time. And then luckily, my friend Peter Seung called me to second direct for this one, for Fire Breather movie. And then I worked for this one for 2 years too. And then in Cartoon Network, I was able to direct for this TV series Generator X with my good friend of mine with Man of Action. And I moved on to Disney, and then I got to direct for Throne Uprising series. After that, I worked for some feature movie for two Tinkerbells in Disney Toon Studio. And that's up to 2014, and I was working for animation until like almost 25 years. And from 2015, I moved down to Indonesia, Jakarta, and then I'm working for MNC Group as a CCO for MNC Animation. So this MNC Animation is located in Jakarta, Indonesia, and then I want to talk about something, talk about Indonesia. So this is actual map of Indonesia, and then a lot of my friends, when I moved down to Indonesia, a lot of my friends in Korea, United States, and many friends ask me, why you moved down to Indonesia? And then I'm gonna share why did I move down to Indonesia right now with you. First reason is population, and second reason is economy of Indonesia, and third reason is because of MNC Group. So let's take a look at the population of Indonesia. This is world population cartogram. It's basically just a world map based on the population, and Indonesia is just the number 4, the largest population in the world. So maybe some of you may not know about this fact, but it is fact. When I thought about Indonesia, it's just I thought about like, I imagined like some island countries, and I never thought that Indonesia is number 4 population in the world, but it's number 4 of population of the world. So total 260 million people, which is huge. It's actually, it's a lot of people there. And the most important thing that we need to also focus in is it's really young country. So the average age for Indonesian people is under 30. It's 29 years old, which is like incredible. Which means actually a big market for the younger generation. So middle age is 29 years old, and under 14 is actually our target for animation and game, right? Under 14 is 28%, and which is 67 million people, which is more than Korean population, more than French population, I think. And if we compare with other countries, Korea's middle age is 40 years old. Japan's middle age is 49 years old. French's middle age is 42 years old. And they have less population for younger generation. So Indonesian population, like an age profile, is like really, really incredible and fantastic for content business. And Indonesia's economy is growing really, really fast, actually. If you see this chart, this is the chart for the GDP for 1980, back in like 36 years ago. But still, Indonesia is still, you cannot really see it, right? But Indonesia is still 15. I was surprised about this result too. And as time goes by, in 90s and 2000, and then up to 2015, Indonesia got up to the 8th most biggest GDP countries in the world. What we also need to think about it and focus into this chart is there are a lot of Asian countries in this chart. There's a China, there's a Japan, India, and there's a Saudi Arabia, Philippines, and Vietnam, Thailand. There are a lot of Southeast Asia and Asian countries are growing up really fast. And the third reason that I moved down to Indonesia is because of my company, MNC Group. For this, I would love to share our company profile so that you would understand what's MNC Group. Please take a look at it.
Established in late 1989, MNC Group is now one of the leading investment groups in Indonesia. Under the leadership of its founder and group CEO Haritanu Sudibyo, MNC Group engages in the financial investment on top of its three strategic investments: the media, financial services, and property. In the media sector, MNC Media owns and operates the largest and most integrated media in Southeast Asia, with a portfolio of national free-to-air TV stations, subscription-based TV, and online business. MNC Media owns and operates 4 national free-to-air TV stations: RCTI, MNC TV, Global TV, and iNews TV. All of them combined capture the largest market share in Indonesia. iNews TV focuses on news and sports programs and has more than 60 local TV networks scattered throughout Indonesia. MNC Media produces movies, drama series, animation, and famous talent search programs with its own talent under management. MNC Media also owns and operates 22 pay TV channels and the country's largest content library exceeding 300,000 hours. As part of its strategic action, MNC Media also owns Koran Sindo daily newspaper and the country's largest radio network. On the satellite-based pay TV platform, MNC Media through MNC Sky Vision operates 3 pay TV brands: Indovision, Top TV, and OK Vision, capturing 70% of the country's market share. In the big cities, the subscription-based TV is strengthened by Play Media, an IPTV service backed by high-speed internet connection using the FTTH technology. Currently, MNC Media is perfecting its OTT services called MovieBay to further strengthen its subscription-based TV platforms. In the online media, various brands have been developed, including OKZone, a one-stop portal with main content of news and entertainment, which has reached more than 20 million page views per day, as well as video sharing service called MeTube. MNC Media also owns an online travel service called Mr. Aladdin and online shopping service called Grand Outlet. In the financial services sector, through MNC Capital Indonesia, MNC Group provides integrated financial services solution with a main focus on the consumer market. MNC Life offers conventional life insurance, health insurance, and unit-linked that includes education funds. MNC Insurance operates general insurance with focus on the consumer and corporate market. MNC Finance focuses on consumer financing for mortgages and automobile ownerships. MNC Leasing is the only unit focusing on the corporate market through factoring and leasing services. MNC Securities, which was the initial business of MNC Group, provides integrated security services from conventional and online transactions, investment banking, and research. MNC Asset Management offers services ranging from mutual funds, private equity to unit-linked management. MNC Bank, which is a driving force of the financial services sector, offers full banking services and is now developing state-of-the-art digital banking to become the bank of the future. In property through MNC Land, the group is developing Lido Resort in Bogor and Sukabumi. In an area of over 3,000 hectares, Lido is transforming into an integrated lifestyle resort consisting of a theme park, 5-star hotel and villa, an international golf course, and other supporting facilities. In addition to its proximity from capital Jakarta, the toll road access to Lido is also currently being constructed and will be completed in 2017. MNC Land owns Bali Nirwana Resort, located in Tanah Lot, Tabanan, Bali, a resort over 100 hectares in size. Currently, Bali Nirwana is being revamped into an integrated resort under the brand Trump Hotel and Resort, which will also manage some parts of the Lido facilities. MNC Land also owns and develops office buildings, apartments, and hotels, such as the Park Hyatt Hotel in Jakarta and the Oakwood Residence in Surabaya. It also owns the Western Resort in Nusa Dua, Bali, an investment in Plaza Indonesia, Jakarta, which includes the Grand Hyatt Hotel and Keraton Luxury Collection Hotel. Currently, MNC Land is preparing to develop MNC City in Tangerang with a total area of up to 3,000 hectares. The latest business the group has embarked in is financial investment. This includes coal mines and coal terminals. As part of its corporate social responsibility, MNC Group through Jalinan Kasih Foundation has been contributing to society for more than 10 years. Its assistances include scholarships, food donations, free medication, public facilities improvements, and assistance to the victims of natural disasters. MNC Group also raises social funds through TV programs. MNC Group is the group you can trust and rely on. We manage with vision, quality, and speed.
So this is MNC Group in Indonesia. So basically MNC Group has most likely everything that in terms of business perspective. From the point of view from animation, we have like from the investment until distribution and promotion. So we have everything in-house, and then our group can support for animation business a lot. The reason why MNC expanded to animation arm is because of they were able, before group CEO were actually talking about licensing some major character, major IP, and then bringing those characters into Indonesia. That was actually some time it was in consideration. However, Group CEO decided to have our own IPs. So our strategy is just to create our own IP, and then we're going to use that for next 20, 50, 100 years. That's our group strategy. That's why we established MNC Animation, and then I joined from 2015. So it's been pleasure 2 years for me. So the first IP that we create is Kiko, and I would like to introduce this Kiko just a little bit, really quick. The first video was a little bit longer than I was expecting, so I will just cut this one in half, okay?
Saat hari cerah seperti biasanya, bercanda ria tak ada resah. Kami melihat benda ajaib melayang, namun seketika 1, 2, 3, 4 benda meledak, sekejap kami berubah. Oh oh, seperti mimpi, apa yang kita hadapi. Tenang kawan, ayo selidiki, mari dihadapi. Jangan pernah kau gentar, jangan pernah menyerah. Sesuatu dapat terjadi dalam kehidupan ini. Tak perlu ditakuti, tak perlu disesali. Ayo kita hadapi, ayo kita hadapi.
This was not that long. So I wanna share about the response from the audience, from the feedback from the audiences. If you take a look at the graph, the blue one on the top is the rating from February until now. So we're getting like every day more than, not every day, every Sunday we're airing in every Sunday, and then every Sunday we're getting more than 20% share every time we air. And that's like a far up compared to the same time slots other competitors. And also, if you take a look at the age profile, we targeted like 4 to 9. However, 9 to 14 is the most number that they watch. And even until 20, even teenagers watch a lot. So basically, once we create on our IP, then we're gonna use it. We're gonna maximize to using our IP to expand to other businesses, right? So of course, content distribution, licensing, merchandising is just starting right now, and print media. Actually, Kiko actually has been created from the Kids magazine. It was a cartoon, and we're developing our game, and we're going to use online and mobile businesses for that. And then we also participate all the mall event and offline event, and we go to school, we visit really countryside with our costume, and then we give them entertainment. And lastly, we actually MNC Group is building our theme park, which is located in Lido Island. I would like to share a little bit of our theme park plan. This is our first design of our theme park, and then we already included our 4 different IPs into our theme park. First one is Kiko, second one is Titus, and third one is Zack Storm, which is co-producing with French and US and Korean partners together. And fourth one is about, that's Bima. So we already included 4 IPs into our theme park, and then this is gonna be starting to construction in next year, and then it's gonna be done, opening in 2020. So before we open in 2020, we're gonna keep expose our IP for Indonesian audience so that they can be familiar for this theme park. This theme park is located in Lido area, which is kind of 45 to 60 minutes from Jakarta. And we're building like a Trump 6 hotel, resort, 36 international golf courses, and luxury residence and condominiums, and theme park, water park, and safari, and also movie land from MNC Pictures. So this is only the first batch of the design, and then once we open in 2020, we will expand second and third batch. So we kind of leave some of the land should be developed later on. So it will be open with 30 different attractions, and then it's going to be international level of theme park. The first international level and quality of theme park in Indonesia. So introducing our IP lineup from MNC Animation, we are currently producing Kiko and currently producing Zack Storm, and we are in the development for Titus, which is the family-targeted detective animation show, and we're also developing for Bima. This used to be a live-action show, like a tokusatsu live-action show, created with Ishimori Production, but we're turning this one into an animation show. And we have more non-verbal comedy and also one more voice action show. So the reason why I wanted to introduce our animation studio in our group is because of we are trying to focus our local market first. And then if we can sell it to internationally later, that would be kind of extra benefit for us. Because of we have enough market in Indonesia, I think it's gonna do even we only focus into an Indonesian market. I think it's gonna totally do, because of if you take a look at the revenue coming from the TV stations, every week, every month we are getting like $80,000 only from advertisement revenue. It's not including any built-in. We can also built into the animation show, but it's not including built-in, it's not including any of the licensing or any of the merchandising, any of loyalty. Only from the content airing on free TV, getting almost $100,000 every month. So we can recoup it by ourselves really fast. So we want to create something like a successful story in Southeast Asia. Basically, we want to be like Disney in our region, because we can, let's say if there's any information, within our media power, we can move forward if we want to. That's what we're trying to do. And what I would like to separately talk to the Asian animation producers is like I would love to make a successful story within Asian producers together. It's because of often I see that many of the Asian producers are trying to get into North American market or European market. And there are a lot of co-producing models going on right now. And before I say that, I probably have to talk about some of the history of Asian animation. Let's say Asian animation studios were kind of were used as a main production studios only, not like pre-productions or not like content creator, as a content creator. However, nowadays a lot of the most of animation studios in Asia has turned into IP creator. They create their own IPs, I think. But often I see they only trying to get into United States or Canada or Europe. They really wanted to keen to sell their contents worldwide. And people think that, I think it's just a mindset. People think that only if you sell or only if you co-produce within like a Western distributor or major company, you can be successful. That's what I felt from Asian producers. However, as you see in the chart, we have a big market in Asia, and I do believe that even from Asian market, if we only focus, let's say, if we only focus in Asian market only, even from Asian market, we can get recouped 100%. That's what I believe. However, sometimes I see that some producers are trying to match Western taste, trying to match Western culture, trying to imply Western dialogue and everything, which is okay because of it's another trial for worldwide market. However, we never try to co-produce together between Asian producers together. But what I believe is Asian market is going to be the biggest market soon. And if we create together for Asian specified contents, then I think it can totally work. And then it could be better for actually the variety of the culture and everything. That's what I believe. So being as an IP creators, as an Asian producers, and we have a big market, and I would suggest to Asian producers that, I would love to work together more to create and then to see and to maximize our Asian market together. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's make some more animation together. Thank you very much.
Talking about the rest of the Indonesian animation industry, is that also vibrant? Like, how does another animated studio get a position within the Indonesian market with MNC there, and how does it operate?
Talking about Indonesian animation industry is like, we cannot really say as an industry yet. It's really, really small, really baby step right now. But we don't have any support from government. This government just launched like Badan Creative Economy kind of organization for the creative field. However, they are moving really slow. For me, they're doing nothing. But I want them to move more faster so that all the small studios can also have a benefit from government so that they can also produce their own IP. But at this moment, only MNC Animation Studio and MD Animation Studio, we are creating our own IPs. And rest of them, they're just being as outsourcing studios. And I heard that one of the studio in Bali, they just got support from Balinese local government, and then they're producing feature animation for local IP. But it's really, really small industries so far. So basically, we're gonna have to build up the whole industry. Actually, MNC is actually building up the whole industry at this moment.
And I suppose you look at it, certainly from my perspective, and you look at the market power that MNC has, and you sort of wonder, how could it fail? But you joined in 2015, MNC Animation began in 2011.
11, yeah.
I'm assuming it didn't all go swimmingly and you were brought in because there were issues. So what did, when you arrived, what confronted you, and was, you know, had it been successful, or what needed to be changed?
Before I go there, you know, I mean, animation studio has been established in 2011. From 2011 until 2014, they were producing local IPs, which is Untong, which is totally local looking, kind of sitcom animation, and also Kiko Preseason. So they produced two different animation show, which is 7 minutes times 39 episode. However, story was, I mean, they don't know how to write a story. They don't know how to write a script, and it's kind of like, you know, you're looking like a student film. It's not like, you know, it's not like professional animation show. However, and also, animation studio was kind of being treated as a leftover division. So they were just doing by themselves. You know, they don't have any budget. They don't even have overtime, or they don't even have, like, they're really like leftover at the time. After I joined, I set up all the plan, and then I recruited people, but recruiting people was the most struggling thing for me. It's because of animation related major or animation major or related university. There are only 5 universities in Indonesia, whole Indonesia. So let's say if you want to recruit like 200 people, then I still cannot. You know, I have 120 for now, but I needed to 260 until now. But it's really hard to recruit people. So if I were in US, you know, let's say for recruiting 1,000 people, I think I can do probably like doing a couple of months. There are a lot of resources in LA, right? But in Indonesia, the pie itself is really, really small. So we needed to run our own internship program. So we started our internship program from October. We have 80 of intern, and we're gonna get like 80 interns every 3 months, and then we train them as a professional, from the professional. Our supervisors are all giving them a lecture or assignment, and we are also working with Autodesk, Adobe, and Toon Boom to get official certificate from them. And then once they got trained for 3 months, and then we're gonna recruit from that pool. That's what we're doing right now.
So you really are building the industry from the
Yes, which
from the ground
actually, you know, government has to do something like that, but we're doing it instead. We're actually paying for them. You know, it's not like an unpaid intern. We're actually paying the minimum salary to our interns.
Now, the other thing I was interested in is clearly MNC has got domination. I think you talked about 70% market share, 42% audience share.
Right.
You know, from a traditional media state, you'd be the envy of pretty much any market in the world.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And yet you've got a very young population.
Yes.
Presumably they are taking onto social media and
Right.
YouTube and a range of other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So the market domination that once existed from your traditional broadcast and other partnerships, how are you dealing with that when your audience, you might have great market penetration with TV and everything else, but your audience is now
Moving
on
into
Facebook, it's on Twitter,
media,
it's
right.
on, you know, other video platforms, which MNC don't control.
No, we actually have our own OTT service,
course you
and
do.
we also have our own online mobile business too. However, we're gonna have to work together with the content creator in local. So there are a lot of good local content creator dedicated for mobile platform like a Facebook or YouTube. So we will work with them together to promote our IP. That's what we're gonna do. Actually, glad that you talk about the age profile. If you take a look at age profile in Indonesia, I already told you in the chart, under 14 is like 28% and it's 67 million people. But if you go a little bit more down, the most population age group is 0 to 4. That means like these young parents are just keep producing babies these days. You know, it's baby booming is in Indonesia actually, and these young generation, young parents, those generations are actually growing up really fast too. Their minimum salary is going up really fast. Every year, actually, 10 to 15% minimum salary is going up, and they are actually working. I mean, they are really open to working for both. You know, for father and mother, they both work together. So what I see, what I predict in Indonesian market, let's say for these days teenagers, like, you know, 13, 14 teenagers, when they go to college, the Indonesian buying power will be more than 2 times than now. Right. It's actually the middle class is growing up really fast. Yeah. So and they are going to surely spend their money to their second generations, which is the biggest age group, right? Let's say if there's any edutainment, let's say for any preschool shows that including any educational, and they create some application, they will surely pay for it. Right. That's what I see.
Now, before I ask any more questions, we've got about 5 more minutes or so. Was there anyone out in the audience that wanted to ask a particular question to show, or do you want me to continue on? There we go, there's a hand up there.
That's the reason because of our group actually acquired the satellite. So we actually have our own satellite and we broadcast within our satellite. However, these days I think they're actually putting a lot of cables supported by government. So I think it will be connected later on. It will be connected and more conveniently, all the audiences more conveniently watch the contents, I think. We're also developing our own broadband. And we already launched our broadband, actually.
What was that?
I mean, we already launched our own broadband. Okay. So we're providing internet service too.
It's a rather fortunate position in which you find yourself. Are there any other questions out there? Before I ask a couple more? No. Is your strategy, and it was interesting, we went out for dinner last night and SHOH was sort of saying, and I was one of those ignorant people sort of sitting there going, so how are you going to make this in the West? You know, what are you going to do and how are you going to make this from, and he was looking at me as if I was an idiot, which he's possibly right, and he said, well, we just want to be the Disney of Southeast Asia. That's our market and we will do what's right for this market and it'll all be good. Is that an MNC strategy themselves? Do they expand outside of Southeast Asia? And second to that, your experience in Japan. Obviously, Japan's got an incredibly vibrant animation industry that has sustained itself, has had great global success, but I don't think it's ever been its focus. It's just focused on what it does well. So is your desire just to focus on and make you be the best in Southeast Asia? Is that driven by MNC or is it a personal philosophy of yours driven from your time in Japan? What's really driven that strategy?
I mean, let me put it this way. Let's say, as I told you before, our group CEO once actually considered to licensing some major characters and then do the business in Indonesia, right? But I think the reason why he changed the group strategy, is because of he's really young. Our group CEO is like 51 years old. And then if he's like 70 years old or 80 years old, he couldn't probably wait until longer term strategy is being succeeded, right? But because of our group CEO is really young, he can wait for 20 or 30 years until we make this IP success. I think that's why, even though this can be a risk, this can be really risky, even though we have like the strongest media power, this can be still risky, right? I mean, let's say, I messed up and then I made a really creepy shows and then no one likes it. Then once that show has been already implied in the theme park, then no one's gonna go. And then that's like millions of dollars investment, right? However, because of our group CEO is young and see like a way more further vision later on, that's why we're kind of expanding our business like this.
And I do find that fact because theme parks, you know, the investment in the IP in the theme parks and having your own IP it's incredibly expensive. And if you don't get it right, it's interesting that the only IP that you're going to put in there from the outside is Trump, but maybe that's a big benefit. But how much pressure does that put on you? And what does success look like? You know, what are the financial imperatives that you have to reach? What time frame are you putting on yourself to determine success?
You know, actually, I don't have any pressure about that. So, I mean, it's kind of lucky for me because I don't have to deal with the number. I'm not CEO, I'm CCO. So there's a CEO who have to take care of the number thing. But luckily, once we created our IP, the first IP, and then we launched in February, luckily after that, we got really great feedback from the market, really great rating, really great response from the audiences. So luckily, I got to prove myself that if we focus and try really hard to create a good story and good characters, then market is gonna reply on it, right? So what I do believe is, I don't really think about the risk, or I don't really think about the number or recoup, or how we're gonna recoup it, how we're gonna sell it, how we're gonna sell to international. I don't really think about it. I only focus into creating a good story, creating a good character. That's the only thing that I care about it.
Right. So you're very narrative focused,
right?
Really on the characters, and yet with Kiko you've got the strategy. So the whole idea of monetizing across 360 degrees and all.
However, that 360 degrees or expanded business doesn't have to come at the same time. I think we can still wait because of Kiko is not like toy-driven show. This is just a situation action comedy. So we just need to create a good stories, and then we just need to expose more and more and longer, then people will like it. That's what I think. And also, let's say for other business opportunities that if the time has come, then we can expand at that time. I think Pokemon is the greatest example. Let's say if Pokemon try to create all different perspective business at the time, then I don't think it's gonna go. I don't think it's gonna do well like a Pokemon Go. Let's say Pokemon has been exposed and everyone knows Pokemon right now, and then now they develop AR game Pokemon Go, and that's the timing that you just expand your business opportunity. So I believe that IP business is just like that. IP business is not just recouping from contents licensing or toys at this moment. I don't think it's the IP business's strategy. I think IP business strategy is more about expose and then just wait until the right time has come.
Well, that's probably, we've been told it's time up, and that's probably the perfect way to throw to the fact that we'll actually be discussing that at 3:10 this afternoon in a session about 360 Kids. So, look, I found that really interesting. Thank you very much for your time. I hope everyone out there enjoyed and learned a lot more about Indonesia and Indonesian animation. And we all look forward to going to the theme park in 2020. So thank you.
That'll be wonderful. Thank you very much.